Beautiful. Once again, the weather was pleasant, not cold, not hot. Just about the right temperature for us all to be enjoying. Hopefully going for a picnic, but we're going to be waiting on that till the weekend. Now that we are all together, let us remind you that we are all awaiting for your email. So please go ahead and send us your feedback, both good or bad. Criticize us, advise us on our email, which is tfg_ksa2@live.com. I repeat, it is tfg_ksa2@live.com. We would be more than glad to receive your feedback. And our number is going to be reminded to you by the better half of the program, Mansoor. So, assalamu alaikum and hello.
Alaikum salam. How are you tonight?
I'm very well, Mansoor.
It's really a tremendous and a brilliant day today. It's an amazing day that the weather's getting better in Riyadh, so people are enjoying the time. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode from your favorite show, The Future Generation. Tonight, it's concerned about the people who traveled around the world, traveled overseas to elevate and improve their education level.
Mr. Mashal Saman, it is such a pleasure to have you. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the show.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you very much for having me here tonight.
Welcome to the show, Mr. Mashal Salman.
Thank you.
We are happy about your participation in the show. We would like to start the show with the first experience of you. When the time that you thought of the studying abroad?
When did I think about studying abroad? I think I thought about it when I was in Tanawiyah. I went to school here and I finished high school over here. I actually went to Madars Riyadh, which is actually right over there. And so I think it was my final year there, and I just decided at that point that I wanted to go abroad to study. And I was going to be a doctor actually in the beginning. And then I decided that no, maybe I was going to go into business. And that didn't work out because I ended up with my bachelor's degree in political science.
Now, talk to us about your journey to your first destination, which was the United States of America. Why did you choose the Americas? And what is it that you decided to finally, how is it that you decided to study political science from medicine to business and then political science?
Right. My father also went abroad. He went to the University of Oregon, which is in the United States, and I followed in his footsteps, and I also went to the same university, and that was basically the reason why I chose the United States. Was my father went there, and I wanted to go where my father went. And
welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and well, that was our news break where we were learning a little bit more about the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. However, with this, we are going to be moving on, sticking to the format of our Monday's show, which is all in regards to one of the Saudis who have traveled abroad for the sake of acquiring higher education. We have got one of the excellent examples, a person that I personally have been tremendously impressed by, Mr. Mashal Saman. It is such a pleasure to have you. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the show.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you very much for having me here tonight.
Welcome to the show, Mr. Mashal Salman.
Thank you.
We are happy about your participation in the show. We would like to start the show with the first experience of you. When the time that you thought of the studying abroad?
When did I think about studying abroad? I think I thought about it when I was in Tanawiyah. I went to school here and I finished high school over here. I actually went to Madars Riyadh, which is actually right over there. And so I think it was my final year there, and I just decided at that point that I wanted to go abroad to study. And I was going to be a doctor actually in the beginning. And then I decided that no, maybe I was going to go into business. And that didn't work out because I ended up with my bachelor's degree in political science.
Now, talk to us about your journey to your first destination, which was the United States of America. Why did you choose the Americas? And what is it that you decided to finally, how is it that you decided to study political science from medicine to business and then political science?
Right. My father also went abroad. He went to the University of Oregon, which is in the United States, and I followed in his footsteps. and I also went to the same university, and that was basically the reason why I chose the United States. Was my father went there, and I wanted to go where my father went, and because it's a fantastic school, and that's basically it.
Now with this, because Mishal, you have mentioned your father, I would actually like to send my regards, my deepest regards to Mr. Saman and his beautiful, wonderful wife. Hopefully both of you gentlemen and lady are watching us tonight. However, with this, Mishal, with all due respect to the United States of America, you did move on to another country after acquiring your bachelor's in political science.
Right.
Talk to us about what was your second destination.
Okay, after I graduated with my bachelor's, during my time at the university, actually, I was studying and doing a lot of things. I found it was my opportunity to learn a lot of different things while I was in America, from art and not only political science, but like literature, a lot of literature, a lot of international relations.
What a genius idea.
It's
indeed.
That's the thing to do when you go abroad. Instead of just studying for your field, which is you must do, I really think it really helped in shaping who I am by studying and exploring other venues and other things. Of them was, like I said, art, literature, international relations, international studies, other languages. I was involved in the International Student Association while I was over there, so I got
Amazing.
to meet all kinds of people from all different parts of the world: Indonesia, Japan, China, Europe. So you get really involved, and while I was there, I ended up learning that I liked a lot of other things more than I did business or even computer science. And while I was studying, I was, as a hobby, doing a lot of art, digital art, and programming. So I learned programming while I was doing political science. When I graduated, I ended up getting a job as a programmer at a Japanese corporation, and basically
In the US or
in the
Japan?
US. It's a Japanese company that was in the United States, and I was a programmer.
Is it related to games or only
No,
programming?
it was related to IT technology. Basically, it's one of Japan's big four corporations. And while I was there, I had this liking to go to Japan, and I wanted to go to Japan. So, being an engineer, quote unquote, with a political science background, I decided I wanted to get a degree in something related to my work, which is why I went to Japan and I got my master's degree in network engineering and IT.
That's very significant place, guys, especially in programming and many aspects, because Japanese people, with all respect to all around the world, they are the best. Do you think so?
They're up there. They're really up there. There are a lot of
According to technology.
To technology, Japan is one of the leading countries in the world in terms of technology. And yes, when it comes to that, I think Japan is in the top 3, right up there. So when I went to Japan to study IT and network engineering, I thought I was really making a great career move. So I moved to Japan and I studied my master's over there. And of course, studying your master's in a Japanese university, you have to be well-versed in the
Yes.
Japanese language, which I am grateful that while I was doing my bachelor's degree, I knew a lot of Japanese people, and I started learning Japanese from the time that I was in a bachelor's degree position.
So cool. Are they working tightly? Full-time working, as we know?
Oh, Japanese?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They take no breaks whatsoever. They're all about working. They go to work at 7 in the morning. They leave at not 7 at night, maybe 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. And it's one of those things that they are workaholics to the point where those kind of people, they have their own name in Japan, which is salaryman. You know, because that's all they do.
Now, Michelle, because we learned the fact that you are Saudi, going to all of those different countries, you yourself are an ambassador of Saudi Arabia. Another thing that we have learned that you have always been very interested in the cross-cultural exchange.
Yes.
Through the cross-cultural exchange definitely comes the language barrier, which you very well fulfilled. So
Thank
talk
you.
to us about your recognition of learning all of these different languages, starting by the fact that, ladies and gentlemen, Mashal Khalid Saman actually knows 8 languages and he's fluent at every one of them. So let us talk a little bit about your journey of learning the 8 languages. How are you not bilingual but multilingual?
Octolingual, I think that's what they call it, octolingual.
Yeah, that's precise.
I don't know. I wish I was as fluent in the 8 like I used to be. Of course, I don't practice hardly enough. But how do I get there? Basically by meeting people. It's all about meeting people and being interested in the person that you're talking to, the person that you're with. While I was in the university, like you said, I was involved, very involved in the international students over there. Many Saudi students, unfortunately, they go abroad, and when they go abroad, they just stay with Saudis and they speak Arabic all the time,
and they don't. In the academies.
They do not branch out. They do not explore. You are in a foreign. I honestly believe, and I truly believe in this, is that when you go abroad, you have to go abroad and actually experience the culture, experience the language, experience the other people who are in the same position as you are in.
Yes.
The Japanese students, Chinese students, Indonesian students who do not speak the language as well as you. Learn from them, and by learning from them, you get a part of their culture.
That's a quite significant aspect, because in the international, like in the English Association in England, they collect different nationalities from Ukraine, from France, and from Arab, from Turkey. They join them together in one class and let them talk and speak one language, which is English. That's very significant point that you highlighted before, because as you said, some Saudis and many Saudis that were going there and they just stay with Arabs and they don't speak English at all. That they cannot benefit from the language there.
Right.
So guys, we continue, but we have an amazing short report. So enjoy it, and we're coming back.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and well, that was our fabulous report all the way from Berlin, Germany. Now with this, we're going to be continuing tonight's discussion, which is all in regards to a Saudi traveling abroad, doing some excellent cross-cultural exchange, learning so much, absorbing so much of the culture, and eventually learning the difference of our Saudi society along with all of those Western societies, and keeping a good balance in his life at the same time. We are in discussion with Mashal Khalid Saman, and we are going to be talking more to you, Mashal. Up till now, we have spoken about your journey in education. Now, currently, you are not in political science or in IT programming.
Nope.
Tell us, what was your third stage in life? How did that come about?
All right, my third stage in life. Right now, I am an actor, comedian, and I do a lot of other things as well. I direct, I write, I produce, I'm a photographer. I do a lot of stuff, but now mainly I'm focusing on acting and comedy in Los Angeles, California.
That's so cool, man. That's so cool.
I went from one side of the spectrum all the way to the other side of the spectrum.
So tell me about how did you choose art from away from your? Is it because your talent, you like the field, you enjoy it, you want to?
I think deep down in my heart, I think that I have always been some sort of an entertainer. Since I was in school, I used to do Haflat Madas Riyadh. You know, we used to do all these productions every year, and I used to love doing them. So there's always been an artistic side to me. I used to doodle a lot and draw in my books. Taking notes, of course, taking notes from the class, but on the side, you know, draw all these pictures of the teacher, you know, like that I did not like, and the teachers that I did like. So I think I always had it in me. The point where I realized that I did not want to do IT anymore was I just had no passion for it anymore.
Yes, that's
I
the-
had no passion.
Quite significant aspect in your role in life. But are you interested in, since you told me in the break that you are doing Shakespearean plays,
Yes.
what's a really significant role? This is the first time I know a person from Saudi Arabia doing amazing and significant works from the history of the literature, and especially in England.
Yeah.
Tell me about your experience on Shakespearean.
Oh,
and
Shakespearean
literature.
play. To be honest, I hated Shakespeare when I first thought about
Time,
it because
Amen to that.
no, it's serious because when you first hear of Shakespeare over here, it's like it's something. The language is so difficult. You learn English in a certain way, and then
It's an old English.
It's the old English. It's actually whatever English it is. It's the very proper English. How art thou? You know, good morrow, fine sir. It's
Yes.
almost like when I actually started reading Shakespeare, I thought the first thing in my mind when I started to understand it, it's much like our old culture here in Saudi Arabia. The way we properly speak, the way we speak with the poetry in our words. It was quite a profound thing that I found. Like here in Saudi Arabia, when we used to speak, how all of our elders and our young
Yes.
people used to speak with so much elegance, and how they used to speak, and how they used to be very classy. Once I made that connection, I loved Shakespeare. I loved anything that Shakespeare did. The first play that I read was The Merchants of Venice. Shortly after, I read Hamlet and Romeo and Juliet and all those things
So your role in
from
But
university.
this, Michelle, let us continue that. But we've got the picture that
Oh,
I
wow.
adore the most. So please
Yes.
talk to us a little bit about this picture, the
Oh.
beautiful wall mural.
Oh, the Walmart. Wow. That actually, that I did that in Jeddah. This last trip that I came, I was out in Jeddah visiting my friends and family, and I was at my cousin's. I was at my cousin's house, and we literally, half of the wall was already painted because he had painted part of it because he wanted to express something. I don't know what it is exactly yet. And I told him, it's like, why don't you draw on the, it's nice, it's a big white screen. Why don't you draw something on it? And he's like what? And I said, I don't know, something. And I took a pencil. He's like, why don't you do it? And I said, I'm not going to do it, but I'll show you what I mean. Why don't you draw something like this? And it actually started from the very middle with, I'm a big Star Wars fan, and I drew a little Darth Vader. And then I drew it, and then he gave me a black marker. I did the black, and then I went and I sat down, and he said, wow, that's really nice. He left the room, and I went and I drew something else, and then I drew something else, and then I drew something else.
And then it was a whole
just turned
universe.
into a whole universe. And then he kept coming in, and he kept saying, I like Spider-Man, so I drew him a Spider-Man. And he said, I love Batman, so I did Batman.
I love Batman.
So it took me about a week, and every day he would come in and he would say, why don't you do this? Why don't you draw
You
this?
remember the Joker from Batman?
The Joker's
It's all there.
He's
he,
there.
He died, unfortunately. He got
Yes,
an Oscar after
yes.
he died.
Yes.
Now, Michelle, another thing that you have done over here in this particular wall mural is you have drawn the Kingdom Tower and the Facilia Tower. So
Yes.
in the world of comics, you have added Riyadh in the face.
I had to put something in there. We were in Jeddah, and I remember I did Riyadh, and I drew, I brought it. If you look at it, science fiction is on the right. There's the Japanese anime is on the complete left.
Yeah.
And that's a very famous word that very many kids here in Saudi Arabia will know. That's to be continued in Japanese. That Suzuku in Japanese means to be continued. And every child here that watched Grandizer or Adnan Walina and all those old Japanese cartoons, that was at the This was taken also from Tokyo. This was the beginning of my career when I did children's shows over there, and I did a children's play. And this was after the show, and I was signing autographs for the kids who liked Baby Bear so much, and that's what I was. This was the thank you to me. I was one of the executive producers of this, and this was the cast and crew of a play that gave me a thank you, a big thank you at the end. This was one of my sketches of one of
Amazing.
Saudi Arabia's
Oh.
greatest cartoons ever known, Grandizer.
You'll take all people now to their childhood.
Of course, this was every Saudi's childhood growing up. This was,
Amazing.
I remember, this was at an event we were doing, and an artist was giving away these small little canvases, and they said, draw whatever you want. The sketch I did, I forgot what the event was, but I wanted to portray Saudi Arabia, and I just had an idea for a logo, and I can't actually remember what I wrote on there. I said, I can't remember what it says.
I like.
And this is my personal
okay.
favorite. I'm going to be having this framed in my room
Oh,
very soon.
thank you.
Talk to us about this, Mashal. This is the reason I'm your biggest fan now.
Thank
Wow.
you so much.
Amazing.
This was, thank you. This was when I was living in Japan. I was dabbling a lot in 3D modeling and digital art. I really started getting into it. And being from Saudi Arabia and living in Japan, I wanted to do something that depicted both of them. So, as you can see, I have a big thing for Al Faisaliya and Al Mamlaka. I love those two buildings.
This
Those
clip, this is another one of my favorites where we have two very impressive people. My childhood hero, Batman, and there you go, the new age Saudi hero.
This one, I do a thing on Facebook every Tuesday. I put a new cover photo or cover picture that I do, and it's very topical. So this one was when the new Batman movie was coming out, and everything on television, they were showing bits and clips of the movie. Khalas, I saw the whole thing on TV. I want to watch the movie, so I drew that picture. Oh, this one was from university days. This was the GCC SU, which is the Gulf Cooperation Council.
What a great
Student
days when you
Union.
remember them.
Yes, this was
In your
probably 15 years ago or
How
something
old
like
you
that.
are?
I'm old enough to know better.
Age is just a number.
I play roles. He's
Looks
a
like it.
director. These are my classmates, my Japanese language classmates from Tokyo. Carlo, he's from Switzerland and from Taiwan. These were the Shabab Club. This was a production meeting at the University of Oregon for International Night, 1998. I was one of the co-producers and co-presidents of that committee, and this was at the university, and we were doing auditions for the cultural shows and the cultural displays that we were going to do at the university. So that's me in the middle. We're bouncing back. This is in Japan. This was my second year doing my master's, my final year at the master's degree. Wow, this is going back to 1993, my freshman year in college. And this was the international students trip that we took to get to know one another. And there are a couple of Saudis in there, people from Vietnam, Japan, let's see, we got Taiwan in there, Hong Kong. These were all the international students. These were the first people that I met when I actually went to the States and went to college. And I remember most all of those. And then many years later, in 2007, this is graduation from Japanese University, and that's one of my classmates from Waseda University in Tokyo.
And well, with that, it is a wrap to all of the amazing photographs from the life and the journey of education of Mashal. Now, we have learned one thing, which is for sure, that as soon as you go ahead abroad to another country, it's not only important for you to fulfill your aim and your ambition, but it's also extremely important for us to absorb their culture and try and not take from them everything, but then again absorb a bit of it in order to accumulate that with your own culture. Because we see that even in the photographs, Mashal never forgot the fact of his roots. He never forgot where he belongs. He is still a Saudi, mashallah, very proud Saudi, but at the same time he has learned so much. So now, Mashal, that we have seen a bits and pieces of your life, talk to us a little bit about your acting career as per now. We have seen your past. Let's talk about the current present.
Wow.
your performances and all that, all of the glamour in your life now?
Okay, about 2 years ago, I moved back to the States, and I went to Los Angeles, and I had started an acting career in Tokyo, in Japan, and I was doing pretty well over there, and I was basically pushed to go, in a very good way, to go to Los Angeles. And I did go to Los Angeles, and I took acting classes while I was over there. And while I was taking acting classes, of course, met directors and producers and other actors, and started falling in love with acting itself, acting as an art. And I started realizing acting was nothing that I imagined it to be, especially learning it from great people. So while I was over there, I also ran into a school, a comedy school called Second City, and that is a very, very old and prestigious comedy troupe and school that's been around since 1959. So, and all the greats from Saturday Night Live came out of that school and from that theater. And I decided to take classes over there and learn the art of comedy. And the art of comedy is actually the hardest art.
Yes.
It's much harder than drama.
It's hard to make people laugh.
It's hard because you need timing, and you need everything to go just right in order to do it. And I found a real love for that and a real interest in that, because I believe also that the best way to keep a person happy also is to make them smile and make them laugh as well, you know. So when you do that also, it's just really, really great. And you could just tell that I love it. I love everything about comedy.
It's really a great role
is.
in life. But some of the comedies, they call the stupid comedy, because they are imitating, sometimes doing stupid.
That can be its own genre of comedy, but like you said, it's really hard to do like fresh new ideas, you know, as we see. It's almost as complicated as mathematics.
Right.
And that's a very good point. And when I started taking improv comedy at Second City, that's one of the things that I found out, that the basis of comedy is the reality of a situation. Every situation can become funny. You just have to find it, play the game, and heighten it. And to the point where I loved it so much that in Hollywood right now, every Sunday night, I produce my own comedy show, and we bring students of this form to come and perform 20 minutes, and it goes from 8 o'clock at night until 1 o'clock in the morning sometimes, where we just have so many people there, and you never know who you meet in these functions, because it's just such a fantastic community that you never know. You perform with another improviser, and tomorrow that improviser becomes Stephen Colbert or Steve Carell, you know, the Tina Fey, Dan Aykroyd. These are all people from Second City that you never know. They become great because they study what they love. And I believe anybody who goes outside, don't be an actor, don't be a comedian, be what you want to be.
Yes,
and once you find the passion to what you want to be, and you know who you are, oh, you can do amazing things. And I sometimes just regret that it took me this long to figure out what I truly love.
And with that amazing piece of advice, we're going to be holding the thought and remembering that there's just not what you are hearing right now. It's very important for you all to listen as well. For the moment, let us go down to the trip of Madain Saleh, where myself and my beautiful sister Saima Aziz are going to be showing you bits and pieces of the beautiful World Heritage Site of Madain Saleh. So let us see, learn a little bit about our amazing trip, and we're going to be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and well, we took you to a free ride all the way to Madain Saleh, the World Heritage Site, one of the most beautiful regions in the entire world. We can very easily say Madain Saleh is very close to Medina al-Munawwara. It is within the region of Medina al-Munawwara. It is definitely a must-see site. Now there in the report, we were actually very much delighted to be accompanied by 130 diplomats with their families as well. It was a trip organized by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So on that note, we would definitely like to extend our greetings to His Excellency Mr. Alauddin Al-Askari for all of the amazing support that he and his entire team did in order to really make that trip a success. Another man who had a huge role in the great trip was definitely His Royal Highness Prince Sultan bin Salman, who actually gave us a surprise visit in Madain Saleh, as you just saw, where he came and visited us at the Farid Port, which was yet another great time for us to spend with His Royal Highness Prince Sultan bin Salman, a true heritage hero, a person who has never forgotten his roots and really carries on with the flag of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia wherever it is that he goes. Now with this, we're going to be coming back to reality, back to the studio right here with Mishal. Now, Mishal, we see that you have toured around the world a lot.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about you taking Saudi Arabia with you wherever it is that you have gone. We see it in your work, we see it in your talks, we even see it in your beautiful drawings.
Yes, we
How
are
is
proud
it
of
that you have, in all these years, mashallah, managed to not forget your true identity and still managed to show people what real Saudi Arabia is, which is just not camels and oil?
Right. Well, that's actually a very hard question to answer because it's hard to say. It's hard to say that I forget that I'm Saudi. I have a Saudi name, so it's hard for me to say, "Oh, my name is Mish'al," and people go like, "Oh, where is that from?" Saudi Arabia, and people, like you say, they always think that, yes, you're just nothing but sand and oil, and it's like, no, do you have an oil well? No, I don't have an oil well. I have 2 oil wells. How do you answer that? You have to,
Yes,
you have
that's
to
a funny
find a clever way to find who you are and what your root is. So I will never forget that I'm from Saudi Arabia. Any chance I get to say that I'm from Saudi Arabia, I say I'm from Saudi Arabia. We're all proud of being Saudi.
Yes,
no matter what happens in the world, at the end of the day, we are always going to be proud of being Saudi. I'm always proud of being Saudi, and
You are a
said,
great example of demonstrating the country in a very elegant and very respectful and
Thank
very
you.
important way, that you are really reflecting the culture of the country.
Thank you very much.
We are really proud of these guys, these people who are really achieving things abroad, overseas. But we're really great about you coming back to the country and achieving things in the country, especially people like you.
You never know. It could be on the horizon. I am very proud of the steps and the strides that Saudi Arabia has taken, especially the young people. The young people here, the new generation, are fantastic. This is one of the reasons I stayed longer this time. I see all these artists and all these actors and comedians right now here in Saudi Arabia, and I have nothing to say, but I give the thumbs up.
And on that fabulous message, Michelle, we would really like to thank you for joining us, giving us this beautiful hour of pure entertainment. We were delighted by your journey.
Has it been an hour already? Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you very, very much.
And well, with this, ladies and gentlemen, joining us in the program was the amazing personality, somebody that I have truly been admiring lately, is Mr. Mishal Khalid Saman, who is definitely an inspiration for us all, not because he has traveled all across the world, but because he has taken his roots all across the world, and he has represented the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in the best of the lights while making an academic career at the same time. We wish you all the very best, Michelle, and for all of you, do join us tomorrow whenever it is that we are going to be going on air. We hope that you're going to be sending us your feedback. Till we see you again, do take care of yourselves, and good night.